him the day before he passed?
I was the last
Is that
person
right?
to speak to Andrew Breitbart alive. Yeah.
Oh wow. Let's talk about that for a minute because that's fascinating. Before our audience, a lot of people ask me about Andrew Breitbart, one of my mentors. How did you know Andrew?
Well, you and I met at the same time. So Andrew called me when I was senior vice president at Paramount Pictures because he saw some public statements that I had made politically. So he was like, "Hey, we need to bring you over to this group called Friends of Abe, if you recall."
I remember that.
And so I helped him establish that very early on with Gary Sinise. So I helped him with big Hollywood, everything. I'm an engineer, technologist, but he also knew that I was anonymous. So he contacted me there, knowing that I was a former executive at Microsoft, and knowing what I knew. So we ended up meeting privately and got to really, I mean, I loved Andrew. Just his passion, his heart, his family. I love Suzanne, his whole family. Everybody was wonderful. And I saw what Andrew was trying to do, and I said, well, I'll give you a hand, but, here's my position. And so we ended up working together. And he called me because he knew my contacts with Anons, real Anons. And he said to me, the feds, the FBI contacted me and said that Anonymous is going to kill me. And
Andrew Breitbart said that to you?
Yep. And he said, and I also got a message from Anonymous that said the feds are going to kill me. What do I do? And so I said, meet me at the Four Seasons in Westlake Village. And I'm sure you recall that studio. There's a TV studio at that Four Seasons in Westlake. And I knew that was a Faraday cage, essentially, because of the studio that it is. And I said, meet me there tomorrow morning at 9:30. And I woke up at, I believe, 7 o'clock in the morning with the news saying that Andrew Breitbart was dead. So, yeah, that's, and as crazy it is and as close as he and I were behind the scenes, I was one of the very few people they didn't want to come to the funeral.
Why is that?
Because I probably knew a little bit more about it. They knew I was the last person to speak to him. I literally spoke to him like 45 minutes before he dropped dead.
Now, were you having the I heard he was having a glass of wine.
He was at the bar. He was at that bar just across from the freeway, if you know where he lived in that area. He would, walk across over to the Brentwood area and he'd go to that little restaurant and sit at the bar, and he did. And he had a conversation with the gentleman. The gentleman kind of seemed to know who he was. And yeah, he didn't make it far from, he didn't make it back home. Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean, there's a lot we could say about that, but a lot of people have reached out to me and my team and expressed concerns about this sort of investigative journalism and expressed concerns about our safety. What are your thoughts on that in light of?
Oh, of course. I mean, I've received death threats just from the viral videos I've released over the past few days. And, I've got international news stations in France trying to diminish the videos that I released because, oh, nothing's happening here. There's nothing to see here. If there was nothing to see there, then why are you all so focused on diminishing me and writing reports that, I mean, it's a reporter saying, this guy's ludicrous thoughts. I mean, these are things that reporters don't normally say. So obviously things are up, and yes, you're at risk. And I've been told a number of times by a number of people that, yes, you're at risk, which is why I live in Mexico. I can't do the things that I can do, that I can say. I can't expose that. I'm here because of that.
I see. Well, that's a sad commentary on our current state of affairs. But OMG has decided to, Andrew Breitbart used to always kind of, for those of you who don't remember, 12 years ago, he would always tweet at every hater, right, and retweet every hater, and sort of get in arguments with every single person on the internet, which is the opposite of which I thought was actually really a great strategy and entertaining one. But what we're doing is sort of only going after the most powerful people. We're sort of ignoring the mosquitoes. Although I did retweet Owen Benjamin today, and I said, "You mad, bro?"
I did see that, and I said, and I responded, and was like, "Stop! Why are we attacking people that are trying to get to the truth? Look, it's so convoluted." And I just want to say this, James, about the BlackRock piece, and then I'm sure there's lots of other more qualified people to speak about this. I've done enough research on it to understand. I've been around these folks. I've been sued. I ran Kazaa, the file sharing network. I've been around. I've gone all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. I've been around to this town. I've testified before Congress, 50 times or whatever. I know the systems, and I've been a part of it, and I've watched them manipulate me when I didn't know I was being manipulated. And so I feel for everybody. But this BlackRock situation is quite different. First of all, Larry Fink is somebody that's telling everybody right to their face that they're pushing and manipulating the companies and making them do what essentially is ESG and what you've watched Bud Light. Bud Light is being destroyed because of things that BlackRock is making them do. Target is being destroyed because of things that BlackRock is making them do. This is all ESG. This is all. So anybody to say, and I appreciate the comment for that from the earlier speaker, I believe it was Rob or Ron. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong, but I disagree. They are not the good guys in this equation. If you understand the gravity of BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, you have no idea what a Ponzi scheme these three corporations have and who they work for, because they literally cycle their losses and their profits through all of the companies. The companies that own the companies own the companies that own the companies. It's all the same people. Nobody owns anything. It sounds like it's a public company. Get down to the real dirty numbers of it, and you're going to realize that BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street literally own the world, and there isn't a thing you can do about it except separate yourself from it. It's far more detrimental than I think anybody even realizes.
I think people are starting to realize it, though. I mean, you say separate yourself from it. Another option is to expose it, and
Or do
I think
both.
what or do both, or I can't separate myself from it. I'm an American citizen. We have an Article 3 federal court system in this country that is supposed to protect my right to repeat what I'm told. That's what a reporter is supposed to do. And if we lose that right, maybe we already have. Maybe we already crossed that Rubicon. I don't think we have yet. They haven't taken away that from us yet. Then I will stay and keep working. But thank you, Derek. And fascinating that you were one of the last people to ever be with Andrew Breitbart before he died.
I miss him terribly, and I often wonder what he would be saying about where we're at right now.
I mean,
It's often on
when
my
when
heart.
Andrew was alive, um, people would have conversations with each other. They would actually have conversations. I mean, I not one person